Ready or not. Ready or not. Here I come. Can't hide. Gonna find you and then yo. Like a game of chess where I rest. No stress, no success.
Yo, what's good? I am Big Caesar Leo, and you are in the basement. Today, I brought my wife back with me. Say what's up, baby.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, because it's evening, late.
It's late, and we out
You
here.
got me working.
That's what I do. Okay, so as you know, we had the first video where we talked about trying to find a church home. First off, before we get into that, how's your day?
Pretty good. I was extremely tired today. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, it's the weather. It was gloomy, rainy today. Yeah, so that kind of bothered me too. It was a long day. Anything interesting happened today?
No, it was just a long day.
Okay.
It kind of drained me, and I think you're right. The rain did.
Nah, I don't have.
Yeah. How was your day?
Long. Whenever you work, whenever it just take up so much of your time. It's tough, but it's all good.
One of these days, the Lord gonna see fit that we have workers. So things will probably work harder. At least I think it'll be more rewarding.
Oh, okay.
You don't think so?
I mean, it could be. I mean, it's hopeful wishing. But with our last video, we actually talked about possibly finding a church home and going to church and finding a church home that we like. So I really enjoyed the feedback from some of you guys telling us different church homes or different places to go, or just different encouragement. I loved it. I love the feedback. Continue to give us the feedback. Remember to please continue to like, share, and subscribe. Just keep showing love. So just to let you know, so Sunday morning, my wife wakes me up and says, "We're going to church today. I found a church." So I start kicking the air. And it was early too. It's my last sleep-in day. You know, that last day when the bed is warm and it's just a perfect day and the sun is shining. So she was like, "Okay, I'm gonna cook you a bagel for breakfast." That's what I ate. And we're gonna go to church.
Hey, sometimes it ain't. Look, I ain't even gonna give no excuse. I ain't feel like making no big breakfast. I had cooked you a nice meal the day before.
Yes, you did, sweetie.
That's funny.
A bagel. But anyway.
It was the best bagel you ever had, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And I cooked you some eggs with it.
Good.
I did.
Oh,
with
yeah,
some
you
cheese.
did.
It was like, did you put some cheese in it? Yeah. So, yeah.
Half a slice of cheese and like 2 eggs with a half a slice. But anyway, let's get past that. So, you want to describe how do you think church went as overall?
Well, let's kind of go a little bit further back. How did I find the church?
Okay, go ahead.
I Googled. I did a little Google search.
That's how we get down.
I Googled churches in the area. I wanted to stay local, just something just that we didn't have to drive far to, And this church popped up. I saw it was actually a few choices that I kind of went through, and I looked at the Google reviews. I looked at their website. I looked at their Facebook page. I looked at quite a few things, and then something just told me, you know what? Let's go with this one. I ain't gonna say what the name of the church is, but let's go with that one. So I woke him up, cooked him a great bagel. I made the bagel from scratch. Yeah, so
Out the pack.
it was so. So got up after he he fought a little bit. He was dragging. It was like your mama wakes you up for church in the morning. He was mad, real mad. What you say back in the day? Your mama used to throw a shoe at you.
That's how my mama used to wake me up. She used to throw a shoe at me. Yeah.
Kitten heel shoe.
Kitten heel. No, my mama threw a Stacey Adams. 40 tips. Bust you
They,
in your head.
oh,
Wake you up. Yeah. You be
well,
like,
she probably had told you 2 times before, get up.
it probably was the first time, you know, I heard. But it's
Well,
all good.
you got up.
Well, you ain't got no choice with that. When that Stacey Adams came across your forehead at a 5 foot mark, and she threw it from 5 feet away, you got some kick behind it. But anyway,
Yeah. So
yeah, you found the church.
found the church. Got up. I brought my Bible, and church started at about 10:30. When we first got there, when we pulled in the parking lot, it was a beautiful church.
It was nice.
It was maybe like 20 minutes from where we currently live, and it was a beautiful church. They had parking lot attendants to tell you where to park. It was a nice crowd in there, but it wasn't like packed. We got there right at 10:30, but shortly after, people started like flowing.
It worked out.
Got a decent park. That's always
That is always good.
because I had on my kids.
Okay, so you said you like the outside. I thought the outside was nice. It was comfortable to walk in. I like the atmosphere. When we showed up, it was a mixed crowd, mostly black, but it was mixed. We saw Asians, Hispanic, white, black, but mostly black. I was like, you know, and that's different for me because
Honestly, what I want kind of a diverse church.
You went to diverse churches before,
I
right?
have attended. I never joined a diverse church,
Okay.
but I've attended diverse church. Like I said, I think I might have mentioned in the last video when Trey was diverse.
Okay.
It was like a melting pot.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, I've never been to a diverse church. I've always been to a 99% black church. They say Sundays are the most segregated day of the week. Yeah, so it is.
But
what it
you know
is.
what? Before we talk about the sanctuary, let's talk about when we walked in. We were greeted by the youth, the teenagers.
Yeah,
That was kind of cool.
that was cool.
That was real cool. I kind of think it's nice that you can see that they want to make it inclusive for everyone, no matter what your race is, your age. You're going to work in the church. So I like that.
Put them to work.
Put them to work. They held the door and they said, good morning, welcome. They were at the little welcome stand for all the new guests. They gave us like a little card to say, welcome, down your information. So that was cool. Sanctuary, you were saying that it kind of gave you like kind of a theater.
Yeah,
right?
it had theater lights and
Like a play was about to happen.
yeah, it felt like a play. I could even hear the wood crackling on the floor up on the stage.
You know what? The sanctuary was a lot. It was a nice size sanctuary, but from the outside, the church looked humongous. But on the inside, they have it kind of, the sanctuary is kind of like in the middle. So it wasn't as big as I thought.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a lot behind the walls and doors. I'm sure there's a lot more to the church that we don't know about since we just came into the sanctuary.
Yeah.
But at that point, I still was like, okay, we in church. This is a good feeling.
Be in church on a Sunday morning. And of course, when we walked in, who did we see on the stage singing the God's glory? The praise team. Yay! Can't get no hand claps for praise team. Don't get no claps.
Oh, sorry, you said cheers. Oh, applause. Praise team.
The praise team was up singing, trying to usher in the glory of God.
Yes, they were.
Yes. They didn't sound bad. I didn't think that they sounded bad at all. They sung maybe about 3 or 4 songs. Praise and worship probably lasted a good 30, 40 minutes. What did you think about the praise?
I'm gonna try to be respectful and professional. First of all, every song of the praise team was 13, 14 minutes long. Every song. And two things they sang in every song. First of all, every one of them sound like no weapon formed against me shall prosper. It won't work. Everyone.
So it sounded like they were singing down a tunnel?
No, it sounded like they was singing slow hymns for every song. And It was just there was no long as I got Queen King Jesus, long as it was nothing like that. Everything was so worshipy, so
Yeah, if you were looking to get your praise dance in, it wasn't gonna happen with those songs. It was very like very very much so worship it, like they were worship, which I don't think is a bad thing. It's not everybody's cup of tea. It's not your cup of tea. It's okay, but it was definitely people there getting spirit. And the last young lady that led the song, she had a beautiful voice, and I felt a little something. I'm like, come on, girl, sing, praise Jesus, hallelujah. So that part, I
okay. I wasn't deterred at that point. I wasn't, shut down, but I was about to fall asleep. Honestly.
standing up.
But I eventually sat down because I was
Yeah.
like, I'm about to lose it. I'm losing it. And I prayed before I went in. I told God, I said, God, please grant me the patience and grant me, show me love on how to deal with this.
So be open minded.
So yeah, to be open minded. That's what I prayed for. So praise team. I mean, I'm old school. If I don't feel it here, it's like the Pop Tart church. It's so watered down. Anyway.
And then after that, the announcement came. Young lady and an older lady came up, did the announcement. They still did like a little prayer. They were kind of like ushering in the spirit of the Lord for another good 5 minutes, and then they went straight into the announcement. And that went so fast. Like I'm used to like the announcement being like, youth, where's the youth?
Right.
I'm used to them like really bigging up happening. And they were just like, hey, if you want to do this, scan here. If you want to do that, scan there. If you want to do that, go to that table over there. It was very, it was very, very quick.
Right.
And in that announcement, right after the announcement came the offering. The offering was faster than the announcement.
Yeah.
Like I was really shocked.
Yeah, I was really shocked with all they Cash App and Zelle stuff on the screen. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
we can pay. I can take a picture of it and
You
pay.
don't call it deal. What do you call it?
Zelly.
They put out it was really fast. Like I said, scan here, scan there, Zelle, Cash App, pass the bucket, done, done. So
Right.
that was pretty nice to see because
Yeah.
you go to some churches sometimes they harp a long time on this tithes and offering.
Close the door.
Close the door.
Lock the door. Don't let nobody out.
But yeah, they didn't do that. So
Yeah, none of that. I would hate to have to act a fool and embarrass myself and my wife on our first day at the church. But anyway.
so after that, they went into it got dark. That's when the production came.
Right.
It was theater time.
Yeah, it was theater time.
Yeah, the screen was down, and they kind of played almost like a commercial that was setting up the terminal about that. They kind of
100%.
yeah. And it was talking about the fruits of the spirit. They played the little video. Video probably was like 3 minutes long. It was kind of cool. It was nice throwing up scriptures. Kind of gave like scenery of you being in a garden and how, you know, plant the seed and the seed is watered and it grows, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then the pastor came up. And we must say, and we both would said it, you don't mind me saying, I'm speaking on both our behalf.
No.
The message was so good. It was so
Amazing.
good.
It was amazing.
It spoke on everything that we were speaking about in the previous video.
And that's the thing with situations like that. Like we talked about it on our podcast. We prayed about it, and we went into this church. And the first verse, the pastor when he gets up, the first verse just dissects what we prayed about, what we talked about before we went in. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He came from the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 16, and this is a New Living Translation, NLT version. So I say, let the Holy Spirit guide your lives. Then won't be doing what your sinful nature craves. So remember, like I talked about in the previous video, how when you have an encounter with Christ, you are a new creature. And those things that you've done before, you really shouldn't still be doing that. Your heart should be craving things of God. So that was the very first verse that he gave, and we were looking like,
I looked at her. I said, she was like, so he ended up saying a couple other things and verses that, like, in the first 15 minutes, it hit so far home, like what we were talking about. And he even admitted, he was like, I'm off topic. For some reason, God's telling me to do this. I'm like, I'm looking at her like, okay, talk to us. Let them use you.
he did. He said he was going off of his notes. He was like, and he really did let God use him. I took a whole bunch of notes, but he was talking about the fruit of the spirit, the fruits of the spirit. That.
Well, he said fruit don't have an S.
Oh, fruit don't have
That's what
plural fruits.
when he said that, I was like, I never thought about it. He said it don't have an S. Go figure.
But the fruit of the spirit that he was speaking of, and he gave really, really good background about, peace, Bible, who needed God's peace, his own personal experience of when he needed God's peace.
Oh yeah, he said he basically gave examples of, sometimes we go through things and we need and God brings us through them. He basically said if you never experienced him, somebody being sick or needed healing and he healed them, you wouldn't know him as a healer. For that reason, you just talking. But if you've experienced something that came through, you know him as that. You know him as a savior. You know him as a doctor. You know him as a lawyer. You know he brings you through.
Mm-hmm.
Let me slow down. I'm about to get after you. Let me slow down. But anyway, me personally, I thought I thought the pastor was amazing. I thought he was so refreshing. And well, he looked like he was my age, but black don't crack. So you got to be careful because he might have been 55. We don't know. But he was younger. He didn't do all the, and God said, he didn't do none of that. He spoke, he taught. I thought it was amazing. I was impressed. I was like, and the points he was hitting on was so relevant. I can't talk today. Relevant. It must be the Yadig. The relevant, uh, it was amazing, because the way he taught, he gave you the history and he brought it on up to modern day times, and I love it. And he gave personal examples. He gave personal testimonies, which made him more relatable and made the church more relatable to us. And the biggest thing I felt about the church was the community vibe. That's something I was looking for, was the community vibe. It had so much community vibe in it. Do you agree?
I do. It was a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Well-oiled machine. Everybody knew their place. When he got up and like at the end of the sermon, he closed. He put it with a nice little bow at the end, and that's when you have to come up with prayer. And the sister came in right away, standing in front of people. People need to pray. They were there to pray for them. So, and after that,
yeah. So here's the $1,000,000 question.
Yeah.
Would you go back?
Absolutely, I would definitely go back. I felt good, about being in church for one, just because I haven't been in a very long time.
What's a long time?
Oh, maybe about 2 years.
You ain't been to church in 2 years?
We ain't been to church.
I've been to church since 2 years.
Well, we ain't talking about for
We just went to church last fall.
Yeah, for your aunt thing.
No, we went to that little church. Remember we went in there and remember they had us sitting in the front? And it was built like a classroom or I forgot. It was in Aurora.
I don't remember. Sorry. When we're done, you're gonna have to remind me who invited us. What was the name of the church? I don't remember.
We just went to the church. We found it.
Oh. That last year? No, I don't even think that was last year.
That was last year.
Okay. Well, the years be flying by so fast. So maybe last year was the time we did. But we just went there one time and didn't go again. And that was a nice church too.
Yeah.
I thought. But this one I kind of felt like the word was really hitting home for
I agree. I thought, the pastor basically saved the experience for me.
Will you go? Will you go again? Will we go again? That's $1 million question. Do you want to go again? Because I can't go without you.
Yes, you can. But
I don't want.
would I go again? Yes. Yeah, I would. I would. Let me ask you this question. Would you make that your church home?
I think it's too soon for me to say yes. I gotta visit it a couple times. I think it's very rare that you can go to a church and instantly feel like, oh, this is home. Not to say it don't happen.
I don't know.
It happens, but it wasn't the case this time. Even though he was hitting home on a lot of things, I still want to go again. Still want to go.
I actually want to hear what they say next week. But we're not going to that church next
I'm
week.
about to say, are you just doing that so you can
No,
get out of?
it's my turn to pick the church. Hold on. If I wanted to pick that church and go back, I can. It's my
have that
turn to
right.
pick the church. So, on a scale from 1 to 10, what would you give them?
I don't like rating a church. But
I
if
know,
I have to give it a
If you
score,
have to.
7.5.
Okay, 7.5, not bad.
That's good. I'll take 7.5.
Okay, that's not bad.
What would you give it?
I would probably give it a 6.5. I wanted to give it a 7, but I'm gonna stick with a 6.5, and I'm gonna tell you why. It was the place and the atmosphere, like the building, because it like a play. It's something to say about traditional churches, with the wooden pews and the old building. It's something to say about that because you feel like the spirit has been there. But not to say that the spirit's not in this building. I don't want to come off like that. But
you are really an old soul. You really are an old soul. Like, but I get what you're saying. Like the pews, you don't see too many churches that have like the old school pews and the little things in the back where you put the Bible and your tambourine and all that.
Fans.
The one with Martin Luther King on it.
Hot than that thing.
Right.
But
smell of peppermint in the air and breath. Yeah, I'm excited to see your pick for sure.
I'm gonna find a church. Hey, I need some help. If y'all can help me out, help me find a church. I would like that a lot. Please help me because I must find a church. Send me some ideas, some more ideas. I heard some of them.
Are you willing to travel?
I am willing to travel. Because you're not going to drive, but I will drive 45 minutes to the church. We are in the Illinois metropolitan area. So, we're close to the city, Scott. So, well, not close, but close enough. So, about 45 minutes. So, that can happen. But I'm not going to knock it and say, they gotta have a choir, but choirs preferred.
Choirs preferred.
I can't, I don't want to harp on the praise team because they got jobs in the church and they do God's will.
They do God's work. They do. And then, like I said, it's not everybody's cup of tea. But some people, it's their cup of tea. They don't want all that hooping and hollering and all that sweating and falling all out.
I ain't got nothing. I got no problem with the sweating and falling all out, and I ain't got the problem with the hooping and hollering. But you have to be able to. You have to be able to provide good teaching.
I think that's what I kind of mentioned in the previous video. It has to be a good message being brought. It's not all about the choir or the praise.
Hold on, you're going too far.
For me, it's not all about that. What is the word? What are you feeding us?
See, for me, the choir is the ministry. For me,
So that's church number 1 down, y'all.
Let's see number 1.
How long it's gonna take us to find the one.
So it's all good. Yep. But to be honest, we love the feedback we've been getting from you guys. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe.
And comment. We love interacting with you guys in the comments.
Yeah, please comment and interact and send us some ideas. Talk to us. Let us know what you want you want to see or you want to hear from us. We down for that. And also, for myself because I'll be coming on here doing different things. So, just continue to show love and, like always, we got much love for y'all. And God bless.